Hey, I'm Jessica. If you love cars as much as I do, you're in the right place. From drifting car days to uncovering the world's most iconic rides, gear up and subscribe to Race with Jessica for non-stop car fun. The motorcycle industry usually plays follow the leader, but sometimes engineers go rogue and build something absolutely unhinged. We are talking about scooters with roofs, engines that spin like Doritos, and Italian sport bikes trying to be American cruisers and failing miserably. These are the black sheep, the financial disasters that bankrupted companies and cost CEOs their jobs. We dug through the archives of shame and glory to find the single strangest machine from every major manufacturer. Misunderstood genius or rolling garbage? Let's review the designs and find out. Strap in, it's going to get weird. Number 13, Honda NM4 Voltus. Usually, Honda is the company of sensible decisions. The Accord, the Cub, the Goldwing, bikes that start every time and never offend anyone, the beige trousers of the motorcycle world. But in 2014, Honda decided they didn't want to build a motorcycle. They wanted to build a prop for a dystopian sci-fi movie. The NM4 Voltus looks like Batman's toilet after number 2. Designed by a young team inspired by cyberpunk and Japanese animation, it is a scooter-cruiser hybrid covered in matte black stealth panels. Massive front fairing, skinny rear end, and a dashboard that glows 25 different colors depending on your mood, because that is exactly what riders were asking for. The pillion seat is the size of a postage stamp, guaranteeing no second dates. Honda tried marketing it to non-riders and gamers. Real motorcyclists laughed because it was heavy and underpowered. Non-riders didn't know it existed, a catastrophic sales failure. The 670cc parallel twin makes 54 horsepower through a dual-clutch automatic. Bulletproof mechanically, which is unfortunate because they are still out there, discontinued and unloved, but becoming collectible because almost nobody bought one. Number 12, BMW C1. BMW makes the GS that conquered the world and the S1000RR that conquered the track. But in 2000, they decided to solve a problem that does not exist. They asked, what if a motorcycle was as safe as a car, but as inconvenient as a bike? Enter the BMW C1, a scooter with a roof, a windshield wiper, a roll cage, and seatbelts. BMW marketed it as the bike you could ride without a helmet. Think about the physics. Motorcycles need a low center of gravity. BMW bolted a heavy aluminum cage 5 feet in the air. The result wanted to tip over if you sneezed. It was so top-heavy that BMW had to invent a special lever just to deploy the center stand. Forget it, and the bike fell over, taking you down with it, strapped inside like a hamster. Many countries still required helmets inside the cage anyway, which looked ridiculous and defeated the entire purpose. Powered by a 125cc Rotax single making 15 horsepower, struggling up any significant hill. Discontinued in 2002 after BMW lost millions. It is the Segway of the motorcycle world. Number 11, Suzuki Ray 5. In the 1970s, everyone thought the piston engine was dead. The rotary was the future. Mazda was doing it, so Suzuki said, hold my sake, and built the RE5. The only Japanese production motorcycle powered by a Wankel rotary engine. It spins like a Dorito instead of pumping up and down. Incredibly smooth, but incredibly hot. The styling made things worse. The instrument cluster was a cylinder that looked like a soup can. Turn the key, and a plastic cover slid open like a spaceship airlock. The tail light was also a cylinder. It looked designed by a geometry teacher on acid. The exhaust heat was so intense it could melt asphalt at a stoplight. Nobody trusted the technology. Suzuki panicked and redesigned it, but the damage was done. Discontinued after just 2 years, they allegedly dumped unsold bikes into the ocean off Japan to create an artificial reef, a monument to engineering hubris and a very expensive fish hotel. Number 10, Yamaha GTS 1000. In 1993, Yamaha looked at the telescopic fork, a design working perfectly for 50 years, and said, "This is garbage." They spent millions on the RAD front end. No forks. The front wheel, held by a massive single-sided swing arm, steered through complex linkages and ball joints, looking exactly like the landing gear of an F-16. The theory was sound. Separate steering forces from braking forces. But in practice it felt numb, like steering by fax machine. No direct connection between your hands and the tire. The bike was also incredibly wide and looked like a sport tourer that had eaten too many pies. Too expensive and too weird. Motorcyclists are conservative. We like forks. We understand forks. The GTS was the answer to a question nobody asked. The detuned FCR 1000 inline-4 made 100 horsepower and was legendarily reliable. But crash that front arm and it was a total loss. Parts are now unobtainium, a cult classic for engineering nerds and a headache for everyone else. Number 9. Kawasaki Z 1300 Voyager. When Honda released the Goldwing, Kawasaki didn't want to compete. They wanted to crush. The Z1300 Voyager was a fully dressed six-cylinder touring behemoth weighing nearly 900 pounds. They loaded it with every 1980s gadget imaginable. Cassette deck, onboard compressor, enough lights to land a plane, and a digital dashboard that looked like a 1982 calculator. So heavy Kawasaki had to invent a special stand just to park it. It managed a horrific 25 miles per gallon, meaning you spent half your tour at a gas station. The stator failed constantly because of all the electronics. If it started tipping at low speed, you didn't save it. You jumped off and prayed it didn't crush you. Discontinued and replaced by the Concours and Vulcan lines. Seeing one today is like seeing a dinosaur. Majestic, clumsy, and clearly from a completely different era. Number 8. Harley-Davidson Topper. Harley-Davidson makes V-twins, leather, chrome, and the sound of freedom. They do not make scooters. And yet, from 1960 to 1965, they produced the Topper, and it is exactly as weird as you think. A big square fiberglass box on wheels that looked like a refrigerator lying on its side. No Kickstarter, no electric starter. A pull cord exactly like a lawnmower. Imagine pulling up to a biker bar next to a panhead and yanking a rope to start your ride. The 165cc two-stroke made 9 horsepower. Top speed was 46 miles per hour. It overheated constantly because the engine was sealed inside fiberglass with no airflow. The pull cord snapped regularly. Harley riders hated it. Scooter riders bought Vespas instead. Discontinued and now a hilarious footnote in Harley history. If you own one, you are the king of irony. Number 7. Ducati Indiana. Ducati makes red, fast, sexy race machines. They do not make cruisers. But in the mid-1980s, under Cagiva ownership, they looked at the American market and said, "We need a chopper." The Indiana looks like a Ducati wearing a homemade Halloween costume of a Harley Sportster. Raked fork, step seat, wide bars, but still carrying the L-twin sport engine underneath. The ergonomics were baffling. Foot pegs forward, handlebars weirdly low, forcing your body into a clam shape painful after 10 minutes. Cruiser riders didn't want a high-revving Desmo needing valve adjustments constantly. Ducati riders didn't want a confused part-spin cruiser. It satisfied nobody. Ducati electrics from the 80S meant it worked when it wanted to. Discontinued after a very short run, Ducati pretended it never happened and eventually built the Diavel, a cruiser done right. The Indiana is the embarrassing yearbook photo of the entire Ducati family. Number 6. Royal Enfield Taurus Diesel. India loves diesel. It is cheap. So Royal Enfield shoved a commercial diesel generator engine into a bullet frame and called it the Taurus. It sounds like a cement mixer. It produces 6.5 horsepower, but enough torque to pull a plow. The vibration was so violent, it famously cracked frames and caused nerve damage in riders' hands. Top speed was maybe 45 miles per hour, but it took 3 business days to get there. Bolts literally unscrewed themselves and fell off while riding. However, it got 200 miles per gallon, making it the most fuel-efficient motorcycle ever made, provided you didn't value comfort or hearing. The engine ran forever. Everything attached to it did not. Discontinued as emissions laws tightened. A legend of efficiency and a nightmare of ergonomics. The only bike you can fill from the same pump as a semi-truck. Number 5. Aprilia Moto 6.5. In 1995, Aprilia hired Philippe Starck, famous for lemon squeezers and furniture, and said, "Do whatever you want." He drew an egg. The tank, frame, and exhaust are all soft, organic curves. It looks like it was melted. The radiator is spherical. Starck believed mechanical parts were ugly, so he hid everything. The result was a bike that looked like a kitchen appliance. The suspension was too soft. The exhaust roasted your leg because form completely triumphed over function. Real riders hated it. Design students loved it, but design students don't buy motorcycles. The reliable 650cc Rotax single made 42 horsepower, discontinued and now sits in design museums. A reminder that designing a great chair does not mean you can design a great motorcycle. Number 4. Triumph X 75 Hurricane. In the early 1970s, Triumph was in trouble and needed a hit. They hired American customizer Craig Vetter to make the BSA Rocket 3 look extraordinary. The result was one-piece fiberglass bodywork covering everything in bright orange and 3 upswept exhaust mufflers stacked on the right side like a pipe organ. It was actually designed as a BSA, but BSA went bankrupt before launch. So they slapped a Triumph badge on it, a factory custom before factory customs existed. The tiny tank meant you ran out of fuel every 80 miles. The exhaust cooked your right leg. The 740cc inline triple made 58 horsepower. Typical 1970s British reliability, meaning it leaked oil and the Lucas Electrics required constant prayer. Weird, beautiful, and completely impractical. The perfect motorcycle. Number 3. Victory Vision. Victory wanted to beat the Harley Road Glide, so they looked to the future. The Vision looks like something from the Jetsons. Swooping bodywork completely enclosing the chassis, a rear taillight shaped like a warp drive V, and a front fairing so massive it makes the bike look 10 feet wide. Bold, aerodynamic, and incredibly comfortable, but it looked like an alien spacecraft landed at Sturgis. Traditional bikers had no idea what to make of it. The people who rode them absolutely loved them. Wind protection was unmatched. The 106 cubic inch V-twin was bulletproof, but the styling was too extreme for the mass market and it never stole enough sales from Harley. Discontinued when Polaris killed the Victory brand to focus on Indian, the most futuristic bagger ever built. Ride one and people will genuinely ask what planet you are from. Number 2. Buell RR 1000 Battle Twin. Eric Buell is a genius, but sometimes geniuses do very weird things. RR 1000 was his attempt to make a Harley Sportster engine aerodynamic enough to race. The fairing completely encloses the front wheel, engine, and rider's legs like a giant white egg, designed in a wind tunnel. Underneath that plastic bubble is a primitive Harley XR 1000 racing engine that vibrates like a paint shaker. The chassis was innovative, using the engine as a stressed member with the rear shock mounted underneath. High-tech aerodynamics wrapped around a low-tech tractor engine. Only 50 were ever made. The 998cc V-twin made 77 horsepower and cost $12,495 in 1986, which was enormous money. The fairings crack from vibration, discontinued and now a unicorn. It showed the world Eric Buell was thinking differently, even if the world wasn't ready for a Sportster in a spacesuit. Number 1. Husqvarna 256 Automatic Military. Husqvarna is known for dirt bikes, but in the late 1960s, the Swedish army needed a motorcycle. Recruits could ride without gear training in the snow. The solution was an automatic dirt bike with a centrifugal clutch. But that is not the weird part. It came with skis, spring-loaded metal skis attached to the foot pegs. The rider kept their feet on the skis for stability in deep snow, while the automatic transmission handled everything else. You steered with the handlebars while skiing along at 40 miles per hour, carrying military equipment, painted olive drab with a leather mat bag on the tank. It worked brilliantly for the army. But when surplus models were sold to civilians, people found them terrifying. The freewheel mode meant releasing the throttle downhill gave you zero engine braking. You simply accelerated toward whatever was at the bottom. The 250cc two-stroke was tough, but the automatic gearbox was complex to service. The skis work perfectly until you hit dry asphalt. The weirdest, coolest, most functional military vehicle ever built. Proof that sometimes the strangest ideas are the ones that actually solve the problem. Now tell me what you think of the weirdest motorcycle from every brand in the comments. Which one of these rolling disasters would you actually be brave enough to ride to a bike night? Drop it below. I want to know who is crazy enough. And if you are hungry for more two-wheel madness, I have got the perfect video waiting for you. We are breaking down the top 7 best adventure scooters of 2026. And trust me, these machines are redefining what adventure on 2 wheels actually means. From city commutes to full off-road exploration, these scooters combine power, technology, and comfort in ways that will genuinely surprise you. That video is in the upper left corner of your screen. Subscribe to Race with Jessica, smash that like button, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a thing. We will see you in the next one.